The sun was still rising over the city when Adrien Hale rushed through the sliding glass doors of Mercy Hill Hospital, his heart pounding with an unease he couldn't explain. He wasn't supposed to be there this early. He had left only an hour before, just enough time to shower and grab some files for work. But something, an instinct, a whisper, a tightening in his chest, pulled him back as he hurried down the quiet hallway. Sunlight pulled across the floors, turning the sterile hospital corridor into a strange mix of peace and tension. He didn't know why he was running, but he felt as if something terrible was waiting behind the door of room 218, and when he pushed the door open, that instinct proved right in the most devastating way imaginable. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. And tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? What Adrien saw inside the room shattered something deep within him. His mother, Eleanor Hale, a fragile woman in her 70s who had always been stronger than she looked, lay helpless in a hospital bed, and bending over her, gripping a pillow with trembling hands, was his wife. Marissa. The pillow was pressed against Eleanor's face, muffling her weak breaths. Marissa looked different, her usually calm expression twisted into an anger Adrien had never seen before, her eyes burning with a mixture of fear and desperation. For a split second, he couldn't comprehend the scene. He knew Marissa struggled with stress, knew she blamed Eleanor for past financial issues, knew their marriage had been rocky for months. But this was beyond anything he could have imagined. As the pillow slipped from Marissa's hands and Eleanor gasped for air, Adrien rushed to his mother's side. The heart monitor beeped frantically as he leaned over her, gently helping her breathe again, smoothing her hair as tears threatened to overwhelm him. The daylight filtering through the window seemed to freeze in place, casting the room in a surreal glow. Marissa stood frozen near the bed, her chest heaving as she backed away, unable to justify what she had done, unable to meet Adrien's horrified eyes. In that moment, Adrien felt as if the woman he had married no longer existed, replaced by a stranger whose pain had morphed into something dangerous. But this wasn't just a story of betrayal. This was also the story of the years leading up to this moment. Adrien had spent his life caught between responsibility and guilt. Eleanor had raised him alone, working double shifts so he could attend college. She had sacrificed everything for him, and he always felt he owed her more than he could ever repay when he married Marissa. He hoped life would finally settle, that love would fill the spaces hardship once occupied. At first it did. Marissa was kind, elegant, and supportive. But when Adrien's business struggled, they moved in with Eleanor for a while. Tensions rose, tempers flared, and unresolved resentment began to rot the edges of their home. Marissa never forgot the humiliation of leaning on his mother for help, and Eleanor never forgot how Marissa often dismissed her quietly behind closed doors. Weeks before the hospital incident, Eleanor had suffered a sudden collapse. Heart issues, the doctor said. Stress, age. But Adrien noticed something more. His mother wasn't just sick physically. She was weary emotionally, drained from long arguments between her and Marissa. He tried to keep the peace, juggling work and family. But the daylight hours were never long enough, and the emotional shadows they cast over their home only grew thicker. Standing now in the hospital room, with sunlight warming the floor but not his heart, Adrien felt the pieces of his world crumble. The nurse rushed in after hearing the commotion, followed by security, and Marissa was gently escorted out, her face pale as chalk, her whispers trembling with apologies. Adrien wasn't ready to hear. Eleanor's breathing slowly steadied, though her eyes were clouded with confusion and hurt. Adrien took her hand, feeling her fragile fingers curl faintly around his. He wanted to cry, to scream, to rewind time, to undo the choices that had led them all here. But he couldn't change the past. He could only face the reality in front of him. As daylight poured into the room, Adrien knew he had to make decisions he never imagined making. He reported the incident, not out of vengeance, but because his mother's safety was non-negotiable. He spent the next several hours by Elena's side, gently reassuring her, telling her she mattered, that she wasn't alone. The guilt in him was heavy. He had married someone who allowed resentment to twist her soul, and he hadn't seen it early enough yet. Beneath the guilt was a new resolve. He would not let pain win again. He wouldn't allow the bitterness that had consumed Marissa to enter his life any longer. As Elena slowly regained her strength, she squeezed Adrien's hand and whispered that she didn't blame him. Her voice was faint under the midday morning sunlight, but it held more strength than he expected. She told him that sometimes love blinds people. Sometimes hurt turns people into versions of themselves they don't recognize. But she looked at him with soft, trembling eyes and said that forgiveness didn't mean staying in harm's way. It meant freeing yourself from the chains of what broke you. Adrien realized in that moment that healing wasn't just for his mother. It was for him. 2 weeks passed, and with therapy, space, and legal help, Adrien rebuilt the quiet balance of his life. The daylight hours felt warm again. Eleanor grew stronger. Adrien found comfort in caring for her the way she once cared for him. And though part of him mourned the collapse of his marriage, Another part breathed with relief, knowing the storm had finally passed. He learned that sometimes life forces you into painful moments only to show you what truly matters. Love that nurtures, not destroys. Family that supports, not drains. And the courage to walk away from what harms your heart. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support truly keeps these stories alive. Before the ending, tell us in the comments, what lesson do you take from Adrian's journey? And in the end, Adrian learned that even the deepest heartbreaks can lead to healing when you choose courage over fear, love over resentment, and hope over despair. His mother became his source of strength once again, her warm smile reminding him that even in the most painful daylight moments, there is always a path forward if only you choose it.